So, hello everybody. I'm wearing my robe. I'm working today. I hope and pray that you're doing fine with this COVID crisis. So, I got a lot of very negative, nasty comments on my videos about my experience in Pakistan, and that's fine. That's your right to criticize what someone says, just like it's my right to share my experience and my viewpoints. That's a nice thing about having freedom of speech, correct? And a little bit of name calling going on and very unprofessional behavior. So thank you for that, guys and gals. Appreciate that. That's going to really help things and push me to your point of view. Little sarcasm. So what I'm going to do today is just read, and hopefully you'll be willing to listen and open your mind. There's a lot of things that you have said from Pakistan I already know. Okay, I know there are a lot of poor people. It's like 45% of Pakistanis are impoverished. I get that. I get that. Okay, most of what you guys have been typing and telling me is not new to me. I'm a Christian and I'm focused on the Christian population, and that's my right. So if you have a problem with that, I can't help you, you know. So I cannot boil the ocean and solve the problems of the world. I'm simply sending a little bit of money and prayers to some friends in Pakistan that are ministering to poor Christian families who desperately need it. So don't expect one person like myself to solve your country's problems. Okay, bottom line, you guys live there. You do something about it. My question to you is, what are you doing to help your own country? Okay, rather than criticizing what I'm trying to do and criticizing my views of what I experienced in your country. So all I want to do is help this small group. And if you don't like that, that's really your problem, not mine. So if I look here at here's a website that I get a lot of information from, so you can criticize this as well. I don't care. It's the Persecution International Christian Concern website. And this article was written on March 19th of this year, so it's not even, a month old. And I'm going to read it to you. So, the year 2019 proved to be another challenging year for Christians in Pakistan. Despite lofty claims made by the PTI-led government, the country's Christian community continued to suffer discrimination, intolerance, and instances of outright persecution. As a result of this continued trend, Pakistan was designated as a court of particular concern by the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom. Since the country's formation in 1947, Christians and other religious minorities have been treated as second-class citizens. Pakistan's constitution legally bars religious minorities from high government offices and requires that all laws are compatible with Islamic teachings. Throughout 2019, International Christian Concern documented at least 92 incidents of persecution against Pakistan's Christian community. These incidents included instances of discrimination, sexual assault, abduction, forced conversion, forced marriage, beatings, torture, false blasphemy accusations, and even murder. False blasphemy accusations continued to negatively affect Pakistan's Christian community. ICC documented at least 10 Christians accused of blasphemy in 2019. This included Sunaina Amjad, Sophia Amjad, Soneha Amjad, and Sophia Kamar, who were falsely accused of desecrating a Quran by a Muslim neighbor in Karachi in February 2019. The 4 Christians and their families remain displaced from their homes despite being exonerated by police. In March 2019, Stephen Massey in Sialkot was accused of blasphemy. In June 2019, Sunny and Noman Massey were accused of blasphemy in Bahawalnagar, as was Salim Massey in Khanewal. In December 2019, Shehzad Massey was also accused of blasphemy in Faisalabad. Amir Masih was accused of blasphemy in 2019, but police proved him to be innocent at a very early stage in the investigation. In May 2019, Asia Bibi, a Christian woman that had been on death row for nearly a decade, was finally allowed to leave Pakistan after being found innocent of committing blasphemy in 2009. Bibi and her family were allowed to flee to Canada, where they received asylum. In July 2019, Jadun Masih, a Pentecostal pastor, was acquitted of the blasphemy charges he was accused of in February 2017. This was done by the Lahore High Court after they found that there was not sufficient evidence to prove Masih had desecrated pages of the Quran found near his church. Abduction, sexual assault, forced marriage, and forced conversion also continued to negatively affect Pakistan's Christian community. ICC documented at least 37 Christian women and girls who were affected by this issue in 2019. This included the case of 14-year-old Huma Yunus from Karachi. According to local reports, Huma was abducted at gunpoint by Abdul Jabbar from her family's home on October 10, 2019. Following the abduction, Huma's parents were informed via text message that their daughter had converted to Islam and had married Jabbar. Huma's parents have also received a cascade of threats from supporters of Jabbar and other extremists. To rescue their daughter, the family argued that Huma's marriage to Jabbar was invalid under the Sindh Child Marriage Restraint Act. The Christian couple supplied the court with baptismal and school documents proving Huma is 14. On February 2, 2020, the Sindh High Court found that the marriage was valid despite its violation of the Sindh Child Marriage Restraint Act because Huma had had her first period. The court's ruling was based solely upon the judge's interpretation of Sharia law. In 2020, Pakistan ranked 5th on the Open Doors USA World Watch list of the top 50 countries where Christians are persecuted for their faith. As can be seen by the evidence above, it's easy to understand this high ranking. Unfortunately, the intolerance, discrimination, and persecution faced by Pakistani Christians are unlikely to change in the year to come. Okay, check out this other article I have here. This is from a website called Open Doors. Article is on Pakistan. In 1947, the year of the country's independence, the situation for Christians became more complicated as Pakistan officially became a Muslim state. All Christians suffer from institutionalized discrimination, illustrated by the fact that occupations seen as low, dirty, and derogatory are reserved for Christians by the authorities. Many Christians are poor, and some are victims of bonded labor. There are middle-class Christians as well, but this does not save them from being marginalized or persecuted. Historic churches like Anglican or Roman Catholic churches have relative freedom for worship, but they are heavily monitored and extremists regularly target them for attacks, the last one occurring in December 2017. Christian churches that are active in outreach and youth work face more persecution. In general, Christians are regarded as second-class citizens. Also, the country's anti-blasphemy laws are disproportionately applied against the Christian minority, making it difficult and dangerous to live out one's faith in public. These laws tend to target religious minorities, including Muslim minorities, but affect the Christian minority in particular, given their overall percentage of the population. Examples. In May 2019, a landlord killed a Christian worker because he dared to work for another employer. This case illustrates the low social status of most Christians and is just a glimpse of the many similar cases that often go unreported. Although there have been no major bombing attacks against church buildings in the 2020 World Watch List reporting period, dozens of smaller everyday attacks against churches and cemeteries occur. One example is the desecration of the Christian cemetery at Okara on May 12, 2019. So Pakistan is an Islamic republic that suffers from a plethora of radical Islamic groups. So I'm going to stop there. So these are the types of things that are being published about your country. Now, I love Pakistan. I love the Pakistani people, but I hate persecution, especially of people of my faith, of course, and I hate the blasphemy laws. And I just pray to God that somebody someday will fix that issue in Pakistan so people can live in harmony and stop worrying about what religion they are. And I'm sure you're aware of some of these other incidents, or maybe you're not, that were in the news lately about the persecution against Christians during this COVID-19 crisis, and how there are certain organizations that were refusing to provide food aid to the Christians. And there are other ones that are doing it, but it just it boils my blood to hear that people are being denied aid during COVID-19 because of their faith. Okay, so don't tell me this is not happening, guys. Those of you that are living there, all you have to do is look at the news. So, April 7th of this year, over 100 Christian families denied food aid amid COVID-19 crisis in Pakistan. International Christian Concern has documented another instance of Pakistani Christians being turned away from an aid distribution because of their religious identity. This marks the third incident of discrimination documented by ICC since Pakistan has gone into lockdown in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. On Sunday, April 5th, more than 100 Christian families from Sanda Kalan village, located in the Kasur district of Pakistan's Punjab province, were excluded from a distribution of food aid. Shahakil Ahmed, a local Muslim and human rights defender, told ICC that Sheikh Abdul Halim Hamid, a cleric at the local mosque, decided that the food aid would be distributed to only Muslim families. The aid, collected by a village management committee and mostly made up of foodstuffs, was reportedly designed to be distributed among all the deserving families of the village. However, when the aid was distributed, Sheikh Hamid did not allow even a single Christian family to receive aid. Ahmed reportedly protested against this discrimination and raised his voice against the decision made by the cleric. However, these protests went unheard. Quote, "I condemn this inhumane and discriminatory act by my Muslim village fellows and stand in solidarity with the poor Christian population of the village," Ahmed told ICC. Quote, "Therefore, a group of like-minded individuals are collecting donations from liberal Muslims to extend foodstuff to this vulnerable segment, the Christians of this country," unquote. Since March 21, most of Pakistan has been placed on lockdown as authorities seek to slow the spread of COVID-19. However, the national lockdown has significantly affected the country's poor and vulnerable communities. This includes Pakistan's religious minorities. Approximately 45% of Pakistan's total population live below the poverty line, earning most of their income through daily labor jobs. The national lockdown has cut off many of these laborers from earning daily wages, and reports of starvation are already circulating. So there you have it. And there are a lot of other stories like that. All you have to do is a Google search and you'll see what's going on in your country of Pakistan. So I pray for Pakistan every day. I pray for the people there of all faiths and all backgrounds. I just wish that religion were not even part of the conversation in these countries. Everybody should be free to practice their faith, to practice their religion, and not be questioned or identified by their religious beliefs in the first place. That's wrong. So if you disagree with anything I just read to you, then you can write your own articles to these two organizations, Open Doors or Persecution International Christian Concern, and you can voice your problems with what they have talked about here. So y'all have a great day. I love Pakistan and I pray for you guys. I pray that everyone is healthy. And I'm going to continue to send money every month to my friends who are ministering to a very small group of poor Christians there, and also some Muslim families in the neighborhood that don't have latrines. So my Christian brother is using his mason and helping to build toilets for people in the neighborhood, and they are Muslim or Christian, it doesn't matter. He even asks me if it's okay to use my money to help the Muslim neighbors with toilets being built. And I said, of course it's okay. Faith, that kind of thing, faith doesn't matter to me. I am focused on helping the Christians there for obvious reasons, the brick kiln families and so on and so forth, because of the discrimination. But if we have extra money, absolutely. And if a Muslim family doesn't have a latrine and we have money, we're going to go ahead and build them a toilet for their house or whatever the case may be. So God bless you guys, and sorry for any misunderstandings you may have about me, but I am a Christian, so I am tasked and commanded by God to love all people, and I do. The first ones I'm going to focus on are my Christian brothers and sisters, but I do hope and pray and love everybody in the world. And I know there's a lot of poverty, but I'm just one person doing a tiny little piece trying to help a very small group of people in Pakistan. And I have my Muslim and Christian friends who live there, who tell me almost every day things that are going on in Pakistan from their points of view. And one of them has very, very high connections throughout that country, and the other two do not. So I'm hearing viewpoints from a wide spectrum. One's a Muslim, the other two are Christians, and they're all committed to helping religious minorities in Pakistan. So y'all have a nice day, and God bless you. Bye-bye.